Hello, everyone. Welcome to Yoga Duty. Today, I have really a great announcement to make to all of you because it was one of the main reasons why I started this YouTube yoga channel. And the announcement is that I am officially a 500 hours certified yoga teacher. And I am very happy and I feel very, very accomplished. I love yoga. It's very important in my life. I started practicing kind of later in my life. It was not something that I did when I was very young. I was studying and doing other things, but I really think it has had a very positive impact in my life and in the life of others, to be honest. So what is a 500 hours certification in yoga? So if you want to become a yoga teacher, you have to start somewhere. So you probably start practicing here and there, then you start practicing in a more consistent way, in a yoga studio or in a gym or whatever is the environment that you are practicing yoga nowadays. And then you decide, well, I think that not only I want to practice, I also want to teach. I want to go to the next level, to the next step. And not everybody feels that way. Some people just want to practice for years, but they don't want to be in the other side, to lead a group or to teach one-on-one yoga classes. They just want to keep their own practice. But other people want to teach. In my case, I was kind of in the middle. When I decided to go to my first teacher training, it was a Bikram hot yoga teacher training in 2011. And quite frankly, I was more interested in my own practice and in attending the teacher training that was by itself very tough and very challenging physically and mentally. And I wanted to go through that experience personally and eventually teach later on, but at that time it wasn't my main goal to teach, but I wanted to go to the teacher training. That teacher training was 9 weeks, super intense, incredibly challenging. I had a phenomenal time. I love Bikram yoga. Is my personal favorite, is the yoga style that has more effect in my body in a positive way, in the body, in the muscles, in the joint, and in the skin, really. And there are other things about the Bikram yoga community that I am not going to make any comments about that. You can decide by yourself. To me personally, is a top yoga style, but is also limited in its own way. So I decided to attend to other classes, to the Vinyasa yoga, the flow, the one that you do the Chaturanga, the Sun Salutation, those kind of postures and sequences. So I started going to yoga studios, different yoga studios, and practicing Vinyasa flow style. Also, in the city that I was living, there were a lot of public events that were hosting public yoga classes open to everyone. So I became familiar with the Vinyasa yoga style and I really like it. And I say, yes, I think I want to go to teacher training for a Vinyasa flow style. So at that time, I was practicing in a studio in the city that I was living, and that studio was Yoga One in Houston, Texas. And the directors of that studio, that it was a very successful studio, are Roger and Albina Rippey. And I am mentioning them because I asked them if they authorize me to mention their names, and Albina said yes, because just the fact that you know somebody doesn't mean that you can mention them to the world. But I asked and they said yes. And Roger and Albina are experts in yoga. They are phenomenal yogis themselves. They are incredibly fit. They have they are very good looking people. You know, they really look the part of a yoga teacher. And they were leading Yoga One studios. I started when they have one or two, I think, and then they developed in a chain of studios. Very successful. They have enormous impact in the community, local community. So I took 200 hours yoga teacher training. It was an immersion type, so it's the one that you go consecutive days. And in person, of course, you know, that was 2012, and we were in person. You go physically early in the morning and we finish late at night. And you have several courses, and then you have a final assessment, and there is a little ceremony, and they give you a certificate. That is basically how most of the in-person 200 hours yoga teacher trainings are. So my 200 hours yoga teacher training was quite of standard, you know, it was very normal. Most 200 hours yoga teacher trainings were like that at that time. I personally think that mine was very good because I think that Roger and Albina are excellent. They were running a successful studio. That is something difficult to do. They have their own professions beside being entrepreneurs and studio owners, and you could really see that it was a knowledge acumen there, and resources, and a lot of intellectual ideas that they were applying to the yoga studio. It's difficult to start a yoga studio and to keep running a studio that is successful over time. So time, passed, and I was looking, years later, I was looking for a 300 hours yoga teacher training. That is more difficult to find. So that is important for you to know if you want to become a yoga teacher. It's easy, and now more than ever, to find a 200 hours yoga teacher training. Always make sure that the school that is granting you the certificate is Yoga Alliance approved, that is a reputable school. There are many, but make sure that you have that. You don't want just a random teacher saying that they start their own teacher training. There are some certifications and qualifications that the school itself need to have to be able to grant certificates to the graduates. So I was looking around in the city that I live now, and I was sharing in my Facebook and in my Instagram. Those are my personal accounts where I show up with my own name. My screen name here is Yoga Tutti, but so people that know me knew that I was looking for a 300 hours yoga teacher training to complement my education and to advance, because after 8 years of teaching, regardless the yoga style that you are teaching, you really need something else. You need yourself to nurture yourself and to advance in your own knowledge. There is a point that you say, okay, I need to update my knowledge, update my sequencing, my own practice. I need to hear feedback from people that are really above my own level, not just students or managers or whoever is hiring you. So I was asking, and I asked for 2 years. I was inquiring here and there, and it was difficult to find because all the yoga teacher trainings that I found that were 300 hours, you have to fly or travel to an exotic destination and stay there for a month. That I am sure is a wonderful experience, but it is not something that I was able to do. When I went to the 9 weeks Bikram teacher training, and when I went to my 200 hours immersion teacher training, it was a specific time in my life that I had that time. Very unique. That situation never repeated again. So going to, Bali or Costa Rica for a month, it was not really in my possibilities. Even though I have plenty of vacation days and everything, you don't have coverage for so many days. You cannot just, leave and go somewhere else where you are not supposed to be contacted, or you are not supposed to be in the phone. So really it was not feasible. So I was in conversations, and then Roger and Albina published that they were starting a 300 hours advanced yoga teacher training. And then March 13, 2020, of course, we all know what happened. The pandemic was officially declared, and we all became virtual individuals. And that is what happened. 1 month later, the official announcement of the pandemic, we started our virtual 300 hours advanced yoga teacher training, and we were all in Zoom, and it was, we were all learning how to handle this situation, because you had to practice the class, we had to attend courses, seminars, guest teachers. Then we were separated to the breakup rooms, so like small groups, that in the same way that you would have done it in person, but virtually. And then, as you probably know as good as I know, there were all kind of miscommunications, people muted, unmuted, problems with imaging, bad connection. So we all went through those situations. And at this time, I would say that they come with the digital modality. So in the 300 hours yoga teacher training, that the Zoom meetings that we had lasted for 6 months or even 7, because it was virtual but live. So we met in real time, like 6 p.m. and everybody had to join the Zoom. So that was the modality that I had. And then after we finished the courses, you have to write an impression, like it's a summary with your own impression of each course that you took. And each course has a number of credits, and you have to build 300 hours. And I actually took more, so I earned 335 hours. But I wrote the impressions for all of them because I wanted to exceed the mark. So everything, all the courses that I took, I wrote my impressions and I submitted with my final assignment. And that is how it works. You take the courses, you write your assignment, and you send to the directors for revision, and then they give them their feedback, if there is any feedback, and then you get back your certificate. At this time, I think that Roger and Albina are offering a pre-recorded version, so there is no live in real time. The courses are pre-recorded, and you, at your own pace, can take the courses, then you write the assignments, and then you send to them. And I think that in this new modality, they also have Zoom meetings at certain times in the calendar. And Albina shared with me a link that I will put below in the box. And the link will send you to the offering that they have now for the pre-recorded 300 hours advanced yoga teacher training. And there is no money involved in this information. They didn't pay me to say this. I didn't pay them to get the information. There's no money exchange. This is my genuine recommendation. People that know me personally know that I am a picky person and I don't go around just recommending everything. I think that Roger and Albina are outstanding yoga teachers, experts in the field, and 8 years later I got my second certifications with them, so I am a recurrent client, if you will, and I would never be recommended them if I don't feel that they deserve my recommendation. They are fabulous. Having said that, this is a virtual modality, a pre-recorded, and I had the live. It requires a personal discipline. You have to be responsible for your own learning at some point. So you need to create a calendar, or I remember when we were taking some of the courses, I was kind of tired, so I was taking notes because I didn't want to miss what was happening. Then when I started the course, I had the headphones from my iPhone, and also I have the AirPods, but I would suggest that if you want to take a virtual yoga teacher training live, or this pre-recorded offering that Roger and Albina have at this time, perhaps a good headset is a great thing to have, or a wireless microphone and headphone, because audio is super important in virtual learning. Very, very important. You may be attending the course in your phone with a small screen, but your audio has to be optimal for you to be able to follow the idea, engage with the conversation. These courses are interactive, so sometimes you are required to answer something, or there is a moment that there is a journaling period and you have to write something and then give feedback. So you have to participate. So the audio is number one. You really need to have a quality audio. So I would suggest that you have a headset that is good quality with a background noise blocker, so you don't hear odd noises around, background noises that planes or the rain or the refrigerator or whatever. But if you really think that you want to go to the next level as a teacher and take a 300 hours, and you cannot travel for a month somewhere, so this may be a great option for you. So when you put together the 200 hours plus the 300 hours, you become a 500 hours certified yoga teacher. So you will see 500 CYR. But also I am sure that you have seen some teachers that said 500 hours RYT. And the R is for registered yoga teacher. And a registered yoga teacher is a 500 hours certified yoga teacher that is registered in Yoga Alliance. It's a great thing to do, but it's not required, it's not mandatory. So the 300 hours that I did with Roger and Albina, I did it with the school that they have now, that is Ripi Yoga, that is a virtual yoga school, and also they have a retreat that you can go physically, and they have some they have a retreat center. They have retreats every week, I think. Some of them are led by them, some of them are led by people that organize events there. So what I really like is that there is a possibility of a continuation. So you may have a virtual experience, but then you can go and attend to the retreats and continue and go deeper in your practice. And I think that is an important possibility. So it's not just random people in the cyberspace and you don't really know who they are. So in the scale of 1 to 10, my score to the course, from 1 being, the lowest and 10 being the maximum score, I would give the 300 hours teacher training an 8. And this is why. I think that the course was very good, and there were some audio issues. Sometimes I could barely hear. It could have been me, it could have been, them, I don't know. But I am not considering that, because I have learned that in this digital world, audio is always a problem. The other day I was in a Zoom and half of the people were muted, and we still, at this time, there's still a confusion about the audio. So I'm not going to talk about the technical issues. When you sign up for something that is digitally virtual, that comes with the territory. So prepare yourself at your end. I'm not talking about that. The reason why I'm taking 2 points down is because those are the big difference between a digital teacher training that I experienced compared to the in-person teacher training. Number one, the community is really less intense. So when I was doing my 200 hours and my Bikram teacher training, I really created community, friends that still today we are in touch, and we go sometimes to yoga classes. So the ability to create relationships in the teacher training is only virtual, and by itself is limited. So I'm taking a point down for that. And the second point that I'm taking down is something that I think is also very important, is that I didn't get any job lead from this teacher training. So I didn't get any audition for a new job. I posted several times. Nobody offered me a recommendation, even though we were all students in the training. While in my in-person teacher trainings, both of them led directly to possibilities for me to teach. At the beginning, you teach and you don't get paid because you need to make the hours after the certification. But at the end of the day, the classes that I am teaching now as a part-time job, and I am being paid to teach those classes, came directly as a lead from those teacher trainings. So I think that is important. I did the 300 hours, but it didn't make any difference in my possibility to get more job, or more classes, to teach more classes. I am planning to apply to a position next year that is a very high profile place, so I will see, I will let you know. But if you're a yoga teacher and you want to really have a fast return of investment, you may need to consider that even though you do the 300 hours, it may not imply that now you are automatically more eligible, or that you are going to get job easier as a yoga teacher, or at least not in a virtual modality. That happens almost always when you do an in-person teacher training. When you do an in-person teacher training, there are plenty of possibilities for you to teach when you finish the teacher training. Here, I didn't see that at all. And we met in some Zooms after we finished our live courses, and I remember people mentioning that, I am auditioning, I'm looking for classes, but I cannot find. So for that reason, I take 2 points off. me personally, because I already have my classes and I'm not necessarily looking for new, and also because I would have not been able to travel far away, and also because I already have my yoga community. So even though I don't think that I added a lot of people, I am okay with the friends and acquaintances that I have in the yoga community. To me, it's a 10 out of 10. My personal experience is that even if we wouldn't have a pandemic, I would not been able to travel far away. So this way and modality to take the 300 hours advanced teacher training was my only way. So I am very grateful to Roger and Albina Rippy, who organized this course. That is a big effort, and it requires a lot of consistency, knowledge, discipline to do this in consistent basis. And they did it. I'm very grateful for that. And again, if you are already a 200 hours yoga teacher, because that is a requirement to apply, and you are interested in a 300 hours advanced yoga teacher training, virtual, that is pre-recorded, so you can, click in the link below. It may be what you are looking for, and it may help you to move to the next level as a yoga teacher. And I hope that you have the same wonderful experience that I had. And some of my videos in the playlist called Yoga Knowledge had a little, bites of the courses. The courses are way much longer, but little snippets, of the courses, and some of the yoga philosophy videos are, of course, all required in this teacher training. So thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for following me in the channel. This certification was one of the main reasons, not the only, but one of the main reasons why I started the Yoga Duty channel altogether. So it's very important for me to conclude this project and conclude the certification. And really, I have a personal sense of accomplishment, and I hope that for next year I will be able to create new sequences, and I am still designing the platform that I'm going to show it, but I hope that you can take advantage of my new learning and all the things that I have to share. And meantime, you can watch the videos that I have. As I said, the Yoga Knowledge playlist has a lot of the videos related with my teacher training. And please, you can look in the link that I am leaving before. Again, there is no money involved. I'm not getting paid to do this. It's not a promotional video. Nobody's sponsoring this. But you may like what they have to offer, and you may really, improve your teacher skills. So thank you again for watching, and namaste.